Micah Morris stands at a mere 5'8", 165 pounds, yet he's run ball speed up north of 200 miles an hour. Let's see how he sequences his golf swing so efficiently to produce that speed from such a small frame. The magic is at impact, so make sure you stay until impact to see why all of the things he does works in terms of speed and distance. The first thing you'll see here in his swing is a slight load onto his right side. Nothing major, but it is a slight load into his right leg. Some people don't properly load their backside before starting their backswing. This is how he's harnessing the power from the ground into starting in his backside, which he will then later transfer to his front side and then into the club. So after you see that load onto the back leg, one thing you'll notice here is he starts the backswing with his club head. His club head travels a good 2 to 3 feet and his shoulders haven't really turned that much. A lot of people think to hit it far, you have to turn your shoulders fast and quick and large. Not so much. It's about proper timing and sequencing. He starts his backswing with his club head, not his shoulders. And you'll see as we get all the way to left arm parallel, his left arm really is in line with his stance, aiming at his target more or less. So he hasn't had a big shoulder turn, but look how far the club head has traveled. This is a really good way to sequence your swing to ensure your top half and your bottom half are timed efficiently and there's no wasted energy. The other thing you'll notice here at this point in his swing is he has recentered his hips. He loaded slightly onto his back leg, but very quickly into about left arm parallel, he is recentered, which means he's starting to transfer that weight and energy he is harnessing from his back leg into his front side, which he can't harness any power into the club head until it comes from the front side. So he's transferring his energy from the back side to his front side at this point, and you'll see that kind of come up his chain here, up through his body into the club head, into transition. Another thing you'll notice here, a lot of big hitters, you'll see a big left heel, his front heel will be raised in his swing. Micah doesn't raise his left heel. I don't believe that that's necessary to produce club speed. In fact, a lot of people can benefit from keeping that left heel on the ground. It makes it easier to have better timing loading that energy into the front side. Now we're going to get all the way into where we can see that his energy and his weight is into his front leg, which is right about here. At this point in his swing, he has fully transitioned his weight into his lead leg. But look at that shaft. The shaft is parallel to the ground. His shoulders are still at about a 90-degree turn. If you're losing distance, if you're losing speed, take a look at when you're reaching your front side and when you're transferring your weight into your front side. A lot of amateurs are going to be right about in this position when they finally get to their front side. And if you're getting into your front side at this point in the swing, it's too late. There's not enough time for that energy to travel from the ground through your body into the club head and into the ball. Notice Micah gets into his lead side right about shaft parallel, giving ample time for that energy to come up through his left leg, through his torso, and into the golf ball. So now, with his shoulders closed that long, he's delivering this club with his shoulders. You can imagine that if his shoulders were already opened up into front foot strike, all he would have left is his arms. And an arm swing we know is not going to be as fast as a properly sequenced swing using your shoulders, using your hips, and using your legs. So again, that front, I call it front foot strike, whenever your energy gets into the front foot, that's a good checkpoint to see where are your shoulders in relation to your lower half. Now, you'll also notice here his head drops, which is showing us that he's loading his legs into the ground. If his head stayed where it started, he would not be harnessing as much energy as he could from the ground. And you'll also notice his head moves backwards away from the target. Again, this is kind of a whip effect. If you picture cracking a whip, right at that crack point, you're going to pull your hand backwards to release that energy and to get that whip to crack out front. That's very similar to what Micah's doing here, moving his head and his energy away from the target to snap that club head at the golf ball. And you can even see the inward flex of the shaft, which is a combination of the parallax effect with camera, but also showing what's called the brake effect. His hands are slowing down. His hand speed sped up on the way down, and then they slow down into impact, which again is providing that whip effect of letting the club head catch up and producing efficient speed. And from here, everybody talks about that left foot. You'll see that left foot come off the ground. That's another symptom of showing us that Micah uses the ground effectively, and that's simply the energy coming up out of the ground through his body. And once it's threw his body into the club head, just like a jump. He has nowhere to go but up off of the ground.